The Gemara is discussing whether one may pray either the Shema or the Amidah in proximity to various unpleasant things, most especially feces and urine. And the question is brought up as to whether one may pray near passing feces. So, for instance, if a garbage man is schlepping a big wheelbarrow of excrement nearby, like past you, could you pray? And an opinion comes up that you can, and the justification is that we find that with lepers, that if a leper is stationary and someone walks past him, then the pedestrian becomes impure. But if a man is merely standing still and a leper passes him by, then the leper does not render the stationary fellow impure. And that's brought as a case, and then subtly rebuffed because of the psukim. But what I really found interesting here was Rav Papa says the mouth of a pig is considered as passing feces, and the Gemara responds, Pshita, this is obvious. And then the Gemara replies to itself and says, no, it's necessary for him to say it, because it teaches that even if the pig has just risen out of a river, you might think that therefore its mouth has been washed out, it's still never really clean. And I find this interesting because it speaks to one of the really old questions amongst, I guess, religious historians, maybe, sociologists, fans of the faith, students of the book, as to what the pig prohibition, and more than that, the pig obsession is really about, because, like, in the tradition, Solomon solved all but one of the mystifying laws, the chukim, those laws which have no reasonable explanation. So the fact that he solved them implies they do actually have reasonable explanations. They're just not obvious. And so we try to find them, and people wonder about pigs. And I've heard that like pigs in the ancient Near East carried a particularly pernicious virus. Could be, but I think like this Gemara sheds a bit of light on possible reasoning, because if the animal is considered so filthy that its mouth is always considered as passing feces, well, that implies that they had this sense of repulsion to it based on the fact that it was constantly rooting around in garbage of various flavors. And I think like there's a view, I can't remember, I think it's Talmudic, I can't remember where it comes from, but certainly of the tradition, certainly Kach Kabalti, that we avoid consuming certain animals so as not to absorb their traits. And I think that that's the reason why we don't eat predatory birds, if I recall correctly, or we don't eat predatory animals in general, if I recall correctly. But whatsoever, it seems to be a good reason for the pig prohibition in some sense. That it's just filthy in the face. It's just mouth full of the bad stuff. Not very pleasant. Anyway, may lahavdil menei lahavdalis, may our mouths be full of the good stuff all the time. Many brachos.